What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another adventure with the Bearded Bobber. And today's adventure, well, tonight's adventure, we are talking the 2025 Indian Scout. I have been wanting this for a while. If you guys have been following the channel, you know I started everything with a 2018 Indian Scout Bobber, which I still have right over there. I love that motorcycle. It's not going anywhere. Let's get that answer out of the way for anybody who's going to ask. But this is a beautiful new situation that we have here. I've been wanting upgrades for a little while, little things, and everybody has. I've been listening to the community. We've all been saying the same thing. We've been saying more than the same. Like, some people wanted all kinds of stuff from the FTR on the Scout and all this and the motor, and well, we're getting some good upgrades. Let's dive in here real quick with what started it all, the Indian Scout.
Let's make some noise.
High flying motorcycle man bit.
Have to run, but you do have to hurry along.
Because it's showtime right now.
The year 2015. Indian Scout is back on the road. This beautiful motorcycle with a wonderful, wonderful heritage. The legend reborn and brought back to the streets. I'm absolutely pumped. And then 2018 comes around, the Indian Scout Bobber. This motorcycle got me back into the world of motorcycles. I saw this commercial. I saw all the YouTubers making videos on it, like Brandon Cosmo and Jay Fast, and I bought my first motorcycle. I started riding, and the love and smile on my face from this bike has never stopped for 6 years. And now to see a new Scout come into the lineup, a new motor, I can't wait to see who has smiles on their faces falling in love with this bike. Now that bike started it all, and then we're into this. And we're going to talk about the Scout design as well. The new redesign, what the biggest changes are, frame and motor. There's definitely some differences in a couple things. There's some stuff that's really the same as well. I've seen a lot of stuff with suspension that's the same. I think the swing arm's the same. A lot of brakes are the same model to model. We have some different names. We have a little bit of a tank redesign. There's a little bit of a rear fender redesign. I think they look really good. Our new hand controls look really cool. Maybe you've seen them before, the FTR. One thing Indian does really well is use products back to back. Let's talk about the lineup real fast before we start talking about the new. So one thing we have that kind of new, the Indian Scout Classic. So we're now calling it the Classic. I think it's very, very still just a gorgeous motorcycle. I think the new frame and motor give it just a little bit more aggressiveness to keep with that sleek look. I'd love to see a new exhaust on here. I'm going to say that across the board because the 2-to-1's just bulky. And that's emissions. That's emissions and EPA beating us up. LED lights across the board. We're going to dive into the different trim levels as well. But I love the Indian Scout Classic. I really hope they don't try to weed this out. And with that new Classic name, if it's starting to pull away from just being the normal Scout, if something else ends up being the normal Scout. And they've kind of done that to us before, where the Chief became the Vintage, and then the new Chief came out, and we have a completely new Chief. Then we're moving on to I'd have to say this is my least favorite of the entire lineup, but it's still, I think, really cool looking, and I do want to go ride it. I don't think I've even ridden a Super Chief. Have I ridden a Super Chief? I don't know. But this one looks just like it. The Indian Super Scout. So this one's decked out, ready to travel. It doesn't have floorboards like a Super Chief, but it is already ready to go. It has chop fenders, which I'm not 100% understanding, and I kind of want to know if you can add the regular fenders to this one. If you can, but I mean, I don't know if that would be cheaper or just add windshield and bags to the regular Scout and go from there. Let's move on to what used to be formerly known as Rogue, the Indian Sport Scout. So everything's very similar to the Rogue. The black fenders, color tank, blacked out heads. Now, it's a cool thing that they've done is blacking out the heads. The one other difference with this bike is now the new risers. The risers look like Sport Chief. I do like that they're using these on multiple bikes. I think it looks really good behind this fairing. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Then we're moving on to the Indian Scout Bobber. Just honestly, it adds to the aggressiveness of this bike. They blacked out the heads, a little bit wider. What looks wider frame-wise, it's like tubular instead of having just a blocky radiator piece. And I don't know if that's why they did that. And then we're moving on to what everybody's been wanting to talk about, the 101 Scout. This bike coming in with the gold forks. It looks like, honestly, they come off of an FTR. Dual Brembo brakes and piggyback shocks in the rear. All the suspension across the board is the same except for the 101 Scout. Scout has 3 inches of travel. Scout Bobber and Rogue, I believe, have 2 inches of travel. And I believe the 101 comes with a 3-inch as well with that new piggyback. I could be a little wrong on that one, going off some press release stuff. So, like, there is always updates to things. Now we're going to dive into the trim level of these motorcycles. There is the standard trim, which is now giving the Scout Classic, the Scout Bobber, and the Sport Scout. Those ones across the board, ABS, new LED lighting. It'll come with an analog gauge that is now introducing fuel level and fuel economy readouts. So that's new for the Scout lineup. And if you're wanting to come in and have just like a normal motorcycle with a fuel gauge, you're good. Like, you don't have to have the fancy screen. You don't have to have ride modes. You don't have to have GPS. It's an option. It's pay to play right now. So with the limited trim, you're getting all the premium, everything you got with standard, and then you're getting new badging, so it'll show that it's a limited. You can see that like right here on the side. It has a USB charger, cruise control, which is a huge thing. I know a lot of us have wanted, and it's going to come with ride modes and with sport, standard, and tour. I know some of you might be looking at your screen right now going like, I don't need no damn ride modes. Ride modes are nice to have. If you haven't ran a Sport Chief, some people can do it, I guess, but I know a lot of people, experienced riders, who do not ride in sport mode constantly. They like standard, and then sometimes when they want to get aggressive, they put it in sport mode. For me, I like my Challenger in standard, and every once in a while, I'll put it in sport mode just to rip. So I like the use of them. I've never been like missing out with it on my bobber. My bobber has a great tune, but man, that thing rips. So I don't know. Same thing with the FTR. The FTR is left in standard mode, and I've been riding that for 6 months. I don't know, man. That thing in sport mode might just be something I've ridden one in sport mode, but I don't think I'd be doing it all the time. So we're moving on to the Limited Plus Tech trim. This is one that has all of those, but it also introduces the 4-inch round screen with ride command. This is all new for the Scout. So you're getting GPS, turn-by-turn navigation, weather, traffic. Some of those features you do later on pay for, but you can have GPS, turn-by-turn. I think there's some stuff that's not like up-to-date on the go kind of thing. Let's see. One of the big things is they have this new thing called Bike Health. And I don't know exactly if that's just like, hey, your oil changes are due this. We're keeping an eye on this, blah, 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 blah. As in like your miles and goes to your phone and kind of like lets you know things. That's my guess of what that's going to be. I have no idea though. I don't see a breakdown on what that is. It has bike locator. So that's going to also be cheaper for your insurance. It does talk about the Plus Tech trim offering push button. So a keyless ignition. And I'm guessing the other ones are just going to have keys. That's just kind of, I don't know which way you go with that. Why would you have keys on some and not the others? But man, I've met some riders that are like want stuff very old school, and that might be part of their reasoning, because there is stuff that you can put these options on the other models. Now they're already going to come out with all kinds of accessories, windshields, taller, windscreens for like the Rogue and stuff like that. I'm sure all that stuff's going to be in there. Taller risers, bags, messenger bags, riding lights. I've seen the taller risers for the Sport Scout already. I haven't seen this taller fairing, like the quarter fairing. I don't know if the windscreen for that gets taller. I haven't seen that yet, but I don't see why you wouldn't do that. there's some interesting stuff going on with the bobber. And actually, before, like, we'll talk to the motor in a second, but I'm a bobber fan. I love the bobber. Now we have the all blacked out bike, but then we have the new like two-tone versions of the bike, and they have this in the background. I can't tell if it's on the blue one, but I can definitely tell it's on the bronze. And the bronze has the little like pattern of the Indian headdress going back and forth. So for the normal Indian motorcycle logo. Does show that, you know, they've got floorboards that you can put on these, so it doesn't have to be pegs, which totally would make sense for like the Super Scout and the regular Scout even. Now, biggest difference is coming to this new Sport Plus motor, the 1250cc 76 cubic inch. So the biggest thing here is on the regular Scouts, we went from 100 horsepower to 105. Now that goes across the board until you get to the 101. Now, that being said, all the torque numbers went from 72 to 82. Now, and that's all the bikes. For somehow the tune on the 101 Scout, it comes at an 111 horsepower, but still 82 torque, unless somebody on my press release didn't correct that. So I'm definitely interested to see what it shows later. All these suspension and all these numbers come across the same as the current Scout. So there's a lot of similar sizing from our Scouts now. They were able to drop some weight, even go into a steel frame. And then there's something cool I want to show you guys. Now look at the intake. Now I know some people were thinking the intake was going to go to the side and give more range for fuel, but we're still only a 3.4 fuel tank. And instead of 3.3, we went up just a little bit. The intake is still underneath the tank, and there is still like a snorkel spot right there above the radiator underneath. If you guys have seen the Power Plus and the Scout models, this is where that intake breathes. But right there on the side, you can see on the side, well, it's the other side for the photo, but for me, I'm talking to you guys. Right here, it adds like, it looks like there's two snorkels just like breathing in extra air. And I don't know. I'm very interested to see it in person. Interested to ride it. I'm interested to see what the aftermarket does with this. I feel like the aftermarket might jump on this one faster than they did the regular Scout. I don't know if like foot pegs are gonna like go from Lawless Garage and stuff like that, if they can just adjust and move over. There's going to be a lot of stuff that looks interesting to see what's the same and what's not the same. Bolt patterns, shocks look the same, front forks look the same. There's definitely some new stuff there, but definitely some stuff that looks like they were able to like keep using. I don't know which way that's going to go. Definitely intrigued. I'm excited to see what happens with this. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments. Which one's your favorite model? Mine's the bobber. I'm just a huge fan of the bobber. The 101 is bitchin'. Like it's very, very cool. That probably if I had to pick one side by side and buy one motorcycle, I'd buy the 101 because it comes with everything already, and dual Brembos and inverted forks, and I mean the list goes on with that thing. It's bitchin'. The looks though of the bobber is always what got me into the bobber. I've changed mine, but like it's just the way I like to ride it a lot. I've got 20,000 miles on the motorcycle, and that's had to go with the Challenger having 30,000 miles on it. So it's side by side. It's definitely interesting. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'm probably gonna have to break down that 101 a little bit harder, but yeah. All right, guys. So if you are watching this and you watched all the way through and you want to know more, I'm going to do my best to get out and ride this bike in the next couple of days. I'm going to Arizona Bike Week. I hope to be on one of the demo bikes and get it out as fast as I can. I just want to ride it. I want to see what it is and tell you guys what I think it is. So thanks, guys, for stopping by. Stay safe, stay classy, and I'll catch you later.